Hey, yo, bro, you're gonna have to pay attention to the India Aries on your timeline, in your feed, in your groups, wherever it is on social media, man. They're not hip. They really don't care about what's going on with you and your plight. They don't really care. You've known these women since high school, college, and whatnot. Never talked about the cops. Never talked about the mistreatment. They always thought brothers was knuckleheads and whatnot. But just because being woke is hip and whatnot, everybody wants to be a victim because it's hip to search for pity, just more attention to get high off of. You got Indiaries and woke radical black women that only talk about race for attention, to attract simps that love hearing this woke shit from sisters and whatnot, to call them queens. All of that goofy shit, right? But they really don't care about that. It's all about brand building. It's all about their pockets if they're a part of Hollywood. You search up India Arie, it's about her and Joe Rogan, bro. Nothing to do with music, nothing to do with anything having to do with her actual life. Something to do with the word. People are putting too much power into words. So you got somebody over here that you dislike and he has power over you because he said a word. No doubt. But she's achieved her goal though, because now she's going from hair to hair to talk about healing in the music industry being racist, as if that's something we don't know.
In the 20 years since her industry debut, India Arie has sold 10 million records and won 4 Grammys. But behind the scenes of her incredible success, the worthy singer says her experience in the industry was traumatizing. India Arie sharing her truth on Instagram, calling the business, quote, racist, sexist, and deceitful. Going on to say, quote, I'll never heal from all of it because it shaped my life in ways I can't get back.
The perpetual victimhood chick wants everybody to play a violin and feel bad for something that they willingly chose to do on their own, bro. We already know that everybody's getting raped in the music industry, yet they want everybody to feel bad about the choices they made. Let's be honest. You could have went independent. You could have tried to do your own thing, selling mixtapes off of whatever website, out the trunk, whatever it may be. But you wanted the fame, you wanted the fortune. So who's gonna really feel bad for you? People need to cut it out.
But despite the trauma she endured, India Arie says she's grateful for it all and even thanked everyone who, quote, hurt, used, sued, played, stole from, and betrayed her. Declaring that today she's grown free and her most powerful days are yet to come. Tam Fam, please welcome India Arie to our show from her home in Nashville, Tennessee. Welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. I can't wait to talk about so many things, but I've got to start with this big news that you just announced. In addition to that statement you put out on Instagram about the music industry, you have made a big decision. You are pulling your music and your podcast from the streaming platform Spotify. Joni Mitchell and Neil Young have been protesting the platform.
So just like the radical black woman, they follow after the Caucasians, bro. They don't make moves. They watch what the Caucasians did and now they want to follow after. She wants to pull her music off of Spotify as if that's going to put a dent in Spotify's bottom line. Let's be honest.
Cause of content on the Joe Rogan show related to COVID. You, though, have made the decision to pull your music and your podcast for a different reason, and it is about race.
Yes, I decided to pull my music and my podcast from Spotify, but it's dual. It's one is the Joe Rogan conversation, and for me, his language around race and some of the things I've seen and heard, but also coupled with that, there is the treatment of artists by Spotify. And so artists are underpaid and Joe Rogan gets paid all.
Check this out. And she's going to talk about Joe Rogan's pockets because it's about jealousy and being envious of what Joe Rogan's making for having the top podcast in the world. Let's be honest, India Arie, your music isn't top 10. It's not top tier right now. Maybe back in the day when you were winning awards, but let's be real. This is a streaming service. You're not underpaid for using their platform, bruh. If you don't have no contract, you get what you get. Like, you know what you're doing. You could set up your own shop. It's 2022. People are complaining like they're a fucking victim when they already have the notoriety to set up shop on their own. So what's the problem? They're giving you cents on the dollar and whatnot. You already know what it is. It's a streaming service. They're not paying you to be there. You want to be a part of that because you want to get your music out to all places possible, bro. So come on, man.
It's money, and it's hard for me to, these days, just sit back and go, oh, well, that's how it goes. I made a commitment with myself after reading this book by Martha Beck called The Way of Integrity. She challenges the reader to an integrity cleanse, and it means telling the whole truth all the time and see what it will make of your life. And so when this came up, I had to do it. And I'm a little bit nervous about it because I know people are going to conflate the conversations, and some people are going to judge me, and they're going to say it's not my business, and all these things, because it is a little bit of a different reason than Joni and Neil. And so I am working to have it pulled down. I'm getting a little bit of pushback from one of the labels I was with for a long time, but I'm still trying because it's true for me.
Real question is, you're pulling your music off of Spotify, but the real question is, do you own your masters? That's the real question that we really want to know. People don't ask these questions. We're asking about people's feelings, but what are the facts? You're pulling your music off, talking about artists are being underpaid, but the fact of the matter is this: more artists need to own their music. That's what the conversation needs to be about. Pulling your music off of Spotify isn't going to do shit. Isn't changing nothing. Isn't pushing the needle. All about attention. Period, point blank. Radical black woman only posting about the Caucasian man for attention. Nothing more, nothing less.
Have you heard from Spotify since this decision?
I saw some text from someone from Spotify, but I couldn't dig into it. But it was just minutes ago. And so I haven't looked at it yet. I don't know what it is, but I was like excited, but I was like, I don't want to be later than Tamron. So I had to rush and get out.
Wow. Thank you for joining us in the midst of this developing story. I know that this is a huge decision for you. What would make you feel comfortable having your music streamed on that platform as it relates to the concerns you have, particularly with language coming from that podcast, Joe Rogan's podcast?
I said in my statement that I believe in freedom of speech, and I do. I mean, as much as I think some of the things I've heard him say in these videos is disgusting, he can say it. What would make me comfortable is if there were voices of integrity and high consciousness amplified as loud as his. I'm not being technical because I don't know this world very well, but in our communities, the music communities, we all have a great reverence for, say, Questlove, who has a wonderful big podcast, but does he get paid $100 million?
To my knowledge, I didn't even know Questlove had a podcast. These women are going to make terrible conversations, terrible points when they want you to agree with them. Nobody was checking for Questlove. This is all about demand, bro. What are you demanding? People got to understand they're selling themselves. So the people that you support, the people that you hang around, man, that's going to hurt your value also. So India Arie, she's doing nothing but hurting herself. Out the way. She's washed. But this is nothing but an opportunity to talk about race and get, like I said, she's accomplishing her goal because she's going from here to here. CNN, this show right here to talk about this. But you're not talking about more people becoming independent. These woke radical women have no solutions, bro. They only want to run their mouth. That's it. Keep talking about being underpaid. Questlove got a podcast. This is all about being jealous that Joe Rogan makes this much money. He has this much influence. He could say something and actually make people second guess what people are hearing from the media. Why don't you have this much energy towards the media that's been feeding us misinformation for the longest? Oh, man, we'll be waiting for that answer forever, man. Let's be real.
Those kind of things, like the equity, even in the podcast world, I'd love to see. But also what would make me comfortable is for artists to get paid more than a fraction of a penny. And so now we're all amplified and not just him.
Wow, I'm trying to tell you, it's all about jealousy. Step up your game. Why are you worried about the next man's pockets? I'm not understanding this. You're underpaid. Spotify, you're not an employee of Spotify. Joe Rogan signed a contract with Spotify. He has a high demand for his podcast. He brings well-known if not famous, individuals on his podcast to have conversations for a couple of hours, and people are interested because they're actually having regular conversations that they could relate to. Like, this is all Marxist shit. Let's all try to get paid equally so we don't got this one guy getting paid 100 mil and now we're getting cents on the dollar. That's not right. Like, get the fuck out of here with this weak shit, bro.
Point with Neil Young and Joni Mitchell and others, their issue was with guests and content on his show that were deemed COVID disinformation. And because of that, Spotify responded late Sunday saying it will add a content advisory label to any podcast episode that includes a discussion about COVID-19. Joe Rogan, in a video on Instagram, he said that he's not trying to promote misinformation or be controversial, saying that he will, quote, do his best to make sure that he's researched these topics and try harder to get people with differing opinions. Would you like to see a statement more specifically from Joe Rogan as it relates to your concern about race?
Personally, yes. I'm curious what all that is. Because, social media does things and they have these spliced together of him saying the N-word all these different times. I don't know the context, but I would love to.
So if you didn't know the context, why did you post the video? So many woke, radical black women see a 15-second clip and they make the judgment from there. No context given, not given the benefit of the doubt. It's over. One way. That's it. So without knowing the context of the segments that were chopped up and made into a compilation, you already made your judgment without hearing from the man.
Address it.
So having your podcast removed and having your music removed from the streaming platform is the way right now you feel you can find peace with this?
My hope is that some of my artist friends would follow and come along with me. Because one of the hashtags I put on my post was, what if we all leave? Because if you take the power from them, the power's taken. And
Yo, cut it out. What if we all leave? What if you guys all were your own boss? And then we really wouldn't even be having this conversation. That would be a better conversation, man. But all of these Marxists don't seem to be thinking on that level, bruh. They're thinking on a peasant level. They're thinking on a beggar level. Looking to the high. Who has power? Who has the most notoriety and whatnot? Who could shift the needle? We got to go to that man and beg. Looking pathetic. Nobody's going to follow people like this. But there's woke betas out here, people that want to be comedic cats. Because there's a type of chick talking about healing with stones, sound baths, wearing an ankh and all that bullshit, talking woke. They follow girls like this, going nowhere fast, marching with air horns, talking about nothing.
So streaming doesn't pay artists a lot. No platform pays as much as the art is actually worth. But, if you ask the artist, it's worth more than gold. But that's how we feel about our art. But some of the other streaming platforms pay better. And so if we all leave Spotify, or enough of us leave, they'll either change it, or people who want to hear you will stream you somewhere else where you can get paid better.
So why won't you do that and just cut Spotify off? But with knowing that you did that anyway, and now you're trying to act like you're making a power move. If you want to make the move, go ahead and do it. But you're making it about you now. Which they will always do, bro. Whether it's about your plight, whatever situation, they're going to make it about them. That's it. Why don't you go your own way and make your own cash? People that follow you are going to follow you. They're going to support you. But you're worried about Spotify trying to cut you a bigger check because Rogan's getting paid for something that he signed up for. Try to get a contract with Spotify then if that's the case. If your podcast is going to demand, you know what I'm saying? If your podcast is going to demand some type of ratings. Something.
Well, this is all wishful thinking, though, because the truth is I did it because it's true for me and it's what brought me peace. Because I can't not tell the truth. It's the pact I've made with myself. And
that pact you have been maintaining, including in the post that you recently put up, criticizing the music industry, coming up while India Arie says...
That pretty much sums it up. Like I said, bro, woke, radical, washed black woman, for the most part, only talk about race for attention. I'm out.